My younger son, Jeremy Fuller, was being naughty and grabbed a snake. When he wouldn't let go, the snake bit him. My husband was on a business trip at the time, while my older son, Benedict Fuller, was working a night shift at the hospital. Without hesitation, I called a cab and brought Jeremy to the same hospital Benedict was at for emergency care. There, a pretty nurse ran over to me and asked me about Jeremy's situation. Then, she brought him a hospital cot and took him to the emergency room. Choked up, I explained what had happened and begged her to save my son. She kept her eyes on the machines while talking to someone else. Right before Jeremy was pushed into the emergency room, she stopped. I was confused and asked her if something was wrong. The nurse's eyes were dark as she stared at Jeremy. "Do you know Benedict Fuller?" I nodded. "Of course I do. He's my..." Before I could say son, the nurse slapped me. "What the hell?" Putting a hand on my swelling cheek, I looked up at her. The nurse glared at me haughtily and snapped, "Don't you know who I am? I've been dating Benedict for a year. Our relationship is going well, and we're planning to get married." I took another closer look at her, only realizing now that I had indeed seen her before on Benedict's social media. She was his girlfriend, Yvonne Sinclair. I reached out to take her hand. It wasn't the best circumstances for us to meet. But still, I tried to introduce myself. "I am Benedict's." Before I could finish with the word mother, Yvonne slapped me again. This time, she did not hold back. My cheek was burning in pain. "You hag. Do you think you can steal my boyfriend just because you're attractive?" She kicked me in the stomach. It hurt so much that I could barely stand. Then she glared at Jeremy, who was lying on the bed. "Is this the bastard you had with him without his knowledge?" Jeremy and Benedict looked like, as both brothers took after their father. I wanted to explain that to Yvonne, but she did not give me the chance. Looking at Jeremy's ashen face in disdain, she said slowly, "We have other patients who need urgent care now. You'll have to wait." Then she left, taking the other nurses with her. My mind was buzzing, but I knew that Jeremy could not wait. Clumsily, I took out my phone to call Benedict. However, all I heard was beeping. Benedict did not pick up his phone. Jeremy's face was going gray now. I was panicking as I couldn't reach Benedict. Unable to help myself, I cursed under my breath. Unfortunately, Yvonne hadn't gone far at that point. She heard me and thought that I was cursing her. She turned around and strode over to me. Face twisted in rage, she grabbed me by the hair. "Who are you calling?" There was a car accident victim who needed emergency surgery. Benedict's still in the operating theater. "Do you think he'll help you even if you call him?" She fished out a necklace hanging around her neck and waved it in my face. On it was a very familiar ruby pendant. "Benedict gave me this as a token of his love. He will marry me. He's not going to care about you just because you birthed him a bastard. I'll have you know that our relationship is stable." She pushed me to the ground, ripping my shirt open in the process, and revealing the ruby pendant hanging around my neck. Yvonne's pupils contracted. Her anger intensified. "How did you get this ruby?" "It's a family heirloom." The ruby pendant was our family's heirloom. There were 2 of these pendants. I gave Benedict one of them to give to his significant other. Jeremy would be getting the other one when he was older. In the meantime, I kept it for him. Clearly, Yvonne had gotten the wrong idea. She tore the necklace off my neck in hysterics. "You're a liar, Benedict Fuller. You told me you only loved me. How can you cheat on me with this old woman?" "I hate you. I hate you. My heart hurts, but I still can't stop myself from loving you," she muttered to herself in madness. Then her eyes went dark. "If they die, then there won't be anything standing between us anymore. Yes. That's it." She took out her phone and called someone. After a moment, I heard her say, "Francis, you have to help me protect my relationship." I had no time to watch her lose her mind. Crawling over to Jeremy's bed, I stared anxiously as his complexion turned even worse. "Please save my son," I begged. "He's been bitten by a venomous snake. If you don't help him, he'll die." The other nurses also tried to talk to Yvonne. "Come on. Shit's going to go down if the boy dies. Let's just send him to the emergency room first." Yvonne snorted coldly and gave the other nurses a sharp look. "Are you sure you want to side with this homewrecker? Don't forget, Benedict's father is the CEO of this hospital. Once I marry him, I will be the one to decide whether you get promoted or not." Hearing this, the other nurses looked at each other before walking away, pretending to be busy with something else. "Yvonne, please. Let my son into the emergency room. He's going to die," I begged. Yvonne's expression was cold, and her eyes were full of malice. "That's the thing. I want him to die. That's the only way to keep him from standing between me and Benedict after we get married. I don't want this bastard coming between us. I don't want to be a stepmother." "My son is not Benedict's illegitimate son," I explained quickly. "He's his brother." Yvonne kicked me in the chest. "How can you say that this bastard is my boyfriend's brother when you keep calling him your son? That's ridiculous. Are you going to tell me next that you're Benedict's mother?" I nodded at once. "Yes, I am Benedict's mother. His real mother." Confusion flickered on Yvonne's face for a moment. She stared at me hard. Just then, the doors of the hospital burst open and a group of people rushed in, wielding sticks. The man at the lead, whose hair was dyed blonde, yelled, "Who's the bitch trying to steal my sister's boyfriend?" I was kneeling on the ground, my cheeks swollen, and my clothes disheveled. Yvonne stood before me with an ugly expression on her face. "It's her, Francis," she said. "She's telling me now that she's Benedict's mother." Francis Sinclair scoffed. He gave me a once-over and said disdainfully, "If she's the CEO's wife, then I am the CEO. She's just trying to scare you, so that you'll get flustered, Yvonne." Yvonne's confusion disappeared. "Thank goodness you came, Francis. Otherwise, I might get tricked by this homewrecker." She strode up to me and slapped me several times in AROW. My ears were buzzing, but I didn't dare to move away. "Please save my son. Save my son. I beg you," I kept pleading. Suddenly, cruelty flashed in Yvonne's eyes. "Actually, I can save him if you take off your clothes and slap yourself. You have to say that you're a slut and a homewrecker as you do so and apologize to me on camera. Say that you should not have intruded in my relationship with Benedict.